Phillips here. I wrote a blog recently that I thought I'd share with you or share some of the content with you. And if you're interested, you can go to our website and have a look. This time the topic was on trauma and a childhood lost to the circumstances under which, we're born into often. And we talk a lot about the things that happen and the consequences of those things as a trauma survivor, especially in adulthood, after having spent your developmental time learning how to just survive, basically. Survive complicated relationships with caregivers, exposure to scary experiences, exposure to neglect, which is sometimes people are surprised by the fact that neglect can actually be more problematic in terms of creating symptoms in adulthood than forms of violence or other more overt types of abuse. So neglect and sexual abuse actually are very have a long-term effect on people's ability to establish and maintain healthy relationships with themselves and with other people. But I do like to talk a lot about what was missed and what didn't happen in the context of a chaotic, neglectful, or traumatizing environment throughout development, or even in adulthood. We don't talk a lot about what didn't happen, and sometimes that's where the injury lies. So I want to give an opportunity to acknowledge both for survivors and also those coaches and therapists that are supporting them, an opportunity to have that acknowledged, that things that didn't happen can be a source of a lot of pain, confusion, shame, and other complexities, complex emotions. So some examples of things that are missed or things that didn't happen would include the opportunity to feel loved, the opportunity to feel or be connected to other people, the opportunity to feel safe, the opportunity to develop emotion management or regulation skills. Those are things that we learn in relationship with our caregivers over time. The opportunity to be in a healthy relationship, throughout development. If we don't have that experience when we're young, then we're not going to know how to do it as an adult, at least not with ease. The opportunity to trust, the opportunity to create nostalgic memories. I feel like that's an important piece that, especially around the holidays, we can feel pretty isolated if our experience doesn't match what the outside world is projecting around us, that it's supposed to be fun, connective, beautiful, but it can be a source of a lot of pain for people. And sometimes in a traumatic household, nostalgia does not exist around the holidays or times when it otherwise would be. The opportunity to enjoy the magic of childhood. This is a piece that I feel is so sad, but also I do believe that survivors of childhood trauma have a lot of resources within them that they had to develop in the context of adversity over time that a lot of people don't. So there is this other side of the coin. Obviously, the best choice is to not have to be put in a position to develop those skills throughout childhood. So again, this was just a quick hello check-in, talking about what was missed, what didn't happen. The other piece actually that I wanted to add on is that sometimes in adulthood, after we've had a lot of challenges in childhood, that means that we have to spend a lot more time and effort gaining access to the basics. So for example, people who have grown up impoverished may not have access to the same kind of information about the world around them as other people do, because there's not enough time or opportunity or emotional space to learn or to take in new information. And sometimes those kinds of households that are struggling to stay, just to stay above water, really learning and educating themselves is not the priority. It's really just trying to get food on the table and keep a safe space. So information is one concrete example of something that an adult who was exposed to adversity throughout childhood might have to spend more time catching up on. Access to other types of opportunities are also things that adults need to spend some time catching up on. So if somebody comes from a history of abuse, they may not have the confidence or believe in themselves enough to pursue an education in college. They may not have the means to do that, or may not have a place to live in order to be able to have a safe space to study and learn. So there are these very concrete side effects of childhood trauma that we don't talk about a lot, and that actually come out of the void or the vacancy of love or connectivity and safety. And again, I really find it important to acknowledge those pieces, especially if you're in a caregiving role or in a position to support a survivor, an adult survivor of childhood trauma, that we don't want to tell them that they have to push through it, that, you know, there's always something better on the other side. That may be true, but before we can acknowledge that, we have to be able to grieve the things that were lost and find a new plan to move us forward. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that this was helpful, thought-provoking. If you're curious, go ahead and check out the blog. I'll put the link in the narrative part of the post. So thanks so much. Take care.